probably
Good,
ate too
because
much.
those things can really shut you down, man.
Yeah, they really make you just go to sleep. Probably needed some rest,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
my
right.
goodness.
So, well, I would say how are you, but you're a little better than you were just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
You know, Anthony Joshua over the weekend was really trying to, pick up the pieces, clean up a couple of things as he went through ESPN. He just kept stumbling on certain things where you're like, come on, dude, like, really? Like, I don't know. I think it was smart for him to do it. I think he got to do it because right now in America, the people that know him, they kind of know him for something that maybe you wouldn't want to know him, and then the rest don't know him. So I get it. It's kind of funky that he came here for Canelo in the zone, but he didn't come here for the people he wants to fight 2 weeks earlier. But that's neither here or there. Whatever. But Tyson Fury deserves a rematch, and I just can't really shit on Wilder if he gives him the rematch because it's like he could cash out and fight Joshua, which is a equally hard fight, but a total different style than Fury. The Fury is just a nightmare for him style-wise, but it just really, I don't know, man. It just kind of left a weird taste in my mouth, and I just kept thinking, every time they put him on the mic, he says some stuff where you're like, I got a life to worry about, and I'm gonna fight these guys. Not, I have time, and that was in the summer, and even before that. And of course, him saying, if it's $100 million fight, give me 50, I'll sign tomorrow. He says it on camera. You know what I mean? What were your thoughts about the weekend in general? We don't have to just talk about, Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. We can talk about, the Canelo event because there's not much to talk about there. And a lot of the speculation now is, well, who is Canelo going to fight? Is he going to go back to 160 and fight Jacobs? Or is he still going to fight Lemieux just at 168 and maybe start fighting at 168 for a while? Where do you want to start with this stuff? Because I did think that they did a good job this weekend with Canelo and the advertising and all that. And I did like how they had Mexican flag colors, outside the Madison Square. That was pretty cool. What were your thoughts about this weekend and just kind of a variety of stuff I've been talking about these last couple of minutes?
Well, first off, let's stick with let's do the event. I think that they did a great job actually promoting the event. They had it at the movie theaters if you wanted to go pay to watch it there instead of watching it at home, which I went to the movie theaters. I said to myself, man, I got to get out to the movie theaters. There's no way I'm going to watch this. I can watch it on the gigantic screen. Oh, man, I'm going.
Right.
So I flew.
I like when they do that.
Yeah, so and it was perfect. No stream. It's just that they kept re-looping the schedule over and over and over. And I'm like, what do they show the interview? Show something. They keep re-looping, and when they have an intermission, they just keep re-looping the schedule. Kept re-looping the schedule. I'm like, this is not good. Why do they keep re-looping? Then we missed the Jacobs interview because they kept re-looping the schedule so much. By the time they cut back, the Jacobs interview was over. So I'm like, wow, that was a waste. And that's the only problem sometimes when you have a total streaming and new network, and they might miss certain things. And that was huge. We would have loved to have heard what he said.
Well, yeah, and when you got Jacobs in the ring, why don't you show him? You know what I mean? You don't got no plug in there. You might as well at least have them eyeball each other or something.
I don't know if it was because he wasn't signed with the Zone that they cut that interview. And because when it came back, he saw them right there with Jacobs, and he did an interview, but then they didn't show it. They just showed the end when he was there and they were walking off. So naturally, you're like, wow, well, that was a waste. But getting to the boxing portion of it, We saw the Ryan Garcia fight. I mean, the guy he fought didn't have enough experience, and it was a good walkthrough fight for him. After the Velez fight, which I'm having a hard time having him win that fight. Uh, I thought Velez, did enough to win that fight and kind of put the question and doubt in everybody's mind about Ryan. They just, oh, he's a pretty boy. He's not gonna make it. He's not too much tough and everything else. So that's what came across. But to me, I saw some improvement in him. He's not keeping. He still keeps his chin a little too high, I think, for my liking. But I'm seeing a lot more feints out of him than I did before. And he wasn't just telegraphing his punches like he did in the last fight he had. So him changing his corner was imperative. So I think this is a good fit for him. Working with Canelo's crew, I think that'll be great for him. He gets some world class training
Yeah,
and yeah,
yeah, and it's good on the couple level because you're training with Canelo too. It was a good look at the end of the night to be on camera with Canelo's on camera too. So I think that works in a variety of ways.
oh,
You got a
he's
better
so
trainer.
popular. I mean, he hangs out with the
Yeah,
Jonas brothers. So yeah, this guy is already popular, and we just don't know. The girls and the teenagers, they love him. He's got like 1.5 million followers. Like no boxer has the like boxers don't get this kind of love. He's got like 1.5 million followers, and then he's just starting out. Everybody's like, "What's happening?" I'm like, "Well, he hangs out with the Jonas brothers, so I thought he was a member." When I saw him, at 16,
all
17,
right. You class for one.
right, and they were sitting right there ringside to see his fight. So when they were like, the Jonas brothers are here, Joe Jonas and them, they hang out and they actually spar together, which was quite interesting. Like they actually spar with him, and then the other one does
That's
MMA.
right. I forgot that part. I forgot they were talking about that. That's right.
Yeah, so it was quite interesting, but that's where a lot of his popularity comes from. The teenagers and the girls. They love him. They probably think he is one of the Jonas brothers. So, so anyway,
The fighting Jones brothers.
yeah. So moving right along after that exhibition was done, we had a real fight. The guy who I haven't seen in a long time was there. And what's his name? My gosh, he was the guy who should have been the champion at 140, but he kept getting robbed in every fight he was in. And I was like, yeah, Herrera, that's him, Mauricio Herrera. This guy, I'm like, this guy used to get robbed in every fight. He beat Danny Garcia in Puerto Rico, and he got robbed there. It's like he got robbed in like about 2, 3 fights. It was tragic. And I'm like, now this guy got to go back to Riverside. Yeah, yep. Oh my God, that was the worst. That was the worst. The Benavidez one was terrible. He beat him by so much, it wasn't even close. And I mean, that was just, and it affected. I felt so bad for him. It was like funny. I'm like, man, they robbed him again. I couldn't believe it. They wouldn't even give him a draw. And it was so bad that, but then you look at the spectrum of it and you're like, wow, this guy, man, I mean, that's rough because now he's got to, take the short end of the stick, when it comes to the money now. The promoters will keep putting him on the card, but now they're going to lowball him because he's losing when he's really winning the fights. So it's terrible. So I'm like, this guy would have been the champion at 140 pounds. He would have held the belt and had his shot and his moment in glory. But my goodness, this guy kept getting robbed. So going into this fight, he's fighting Tevin Farmer, who's fighting his third fight in 6 months, and then he just fought like 56 days ago. So here he is right back on the card, ready to roll. And now that he's up there, doing his thing in the ring, he fought. Oh my God, I'm mixing the fights up. I'm mixing the fights up. Herrera fought
Oh
My,
yeah, Saddam Ali. Right?
yeah, he fought
Yeah, I
Saddam
forgot.
Ali.
Yeah,
Right, I'm mixing the fights up. He fought Saddam Ali, and Saddam Ali looked good early. You know, he controlled the tempo, but it was tough. Herrera was making it real tough, and he was coming on late. And I knew he was going to bring the heat on late. And sure enough, you know, he did his thing, going around, pivoting. But Herrera was making it tough for him. And he's a guy out his weight class. You can tell that. Mauricio is the better boxer of the two, but Saddam Ali could control the place with his athleticism. And what he kept doing was every time Mauricio would get too close, he'd smother him, throw some punches real fast, telegraph everything, but he would smother the offense, pivot, and turn back around and try to start all over again. But he was pulling straight back. And this is the problem he's had his entire career. Always pulling straight back. I'm like, my goodness, he's gonna get clipped one of these days. Herrera can't land anything to really get his attention. But this guy, if he fights anybody with knockout power, you know, he's gonna go back down. Because all he could do is this pivot move. He comes there, he pivots, turn. Comes there, pivots, turn. Pivot, turn. You know, it's like, oh wow. And I'm like, he's a good boxer, but he's not an outstanding one. He doesn't have too many tricks. Now, when he listens to the corner, he's all right. You know, he'll listen for about 30 seconds. Then he just, once he gets hit or the fight goes, you can easily get him out of his fight. And that happened later in the fight. And Mauricio was coming right on, putting the pressure on him, kept pushing him back, fighting off the back foot, and he was panicking. He's getting caught with some shots. And Mauricio was working him on the inside. I thought it was a pretty decent fight. So anyway,
yeah. Then Tevin Farmer.
yeah. Anyway, right? They had Saddam
Yeah,
Ali win by unanimous decision. Then that's the one, Tevin Farmer. Like I say, he's defending his belt for third fight in 6 months, and he just fought like 56 days ago, and here he is in there with the guy who was like one of the tough guys, the guy that was whooping on Tank. When Tank had the worst training camp ever, and I was down there a week and saw him training him. I'm like, Jesus Christ, the fights in a week.
he's golden.
Yeah, I'm like,
You know,
Chris.
all man.
Yeah, I'm like, Chris, whoever Tank is fighting,
Not gonna be good.
you know, it's not gonna look good. It's gonna be bad. And unfortunately, that is exactly how it went. And that guy he fought had so much heart. You know, he was in the fight.
Yeah,
So I knew when they made this fight, I said, oh, this guy's gonna fight him. This guy from Costa Rica is gonna get down. So when I saw Farmer in there, and I said, wow, this guy can you know, slick you and everything else. Like when he first started, he was getting losses because he had no backing, no promoter, no nothing. So he lost fights that he won. And he said, man, I got the short end of the stick. And one guy told him, he's like, well, you would have, but you don't know how to win a fight. You don't know how to do it. Sometimes you got to bite down. You're making the guy miss, but you got to make him pay too. So he started to pick that up in the gym and started adding that on. He started sitting down on some of his shots a lot more and trying to make his shots count rather than trying to be flashy. So and trying to
yeah.
hold on.
Pressure in this fight.
Oh,
Definitely brought some pressure.
oh, definitely. The thing was he was trying to see what he was gonna do to bring some, you know, see if he can get him out of there early. You know, like let me bring it now and see if I can get him out of the ring or getting him out of there. And like the third round, you know, you really started applying the pressure. Second, third, trying to see how he was gonna respond to the pressure. But that guy Fonseca, what was his name? I think it was Fonseca, right? Francisco
Yep.
Fonseca, yeah. That guy, man, he was just tough. Man, that guy from Costa Rica was bringing it because he had never lost. That was the thing about it. He had never lost before. So for him to have never lost and losing the Broner, I mean losing the Tank by a disqualification, basically. They called it a knockout when he got hit behind the head. He never felt he lost the fight. So when this fight took place, it was like, okay, you're going to get the belt. You got another opportunity to fight for the title against Tevin Farmer, and it really was an outclassing. Even though down the stretch, I could see like Tevin had to adjust because he didn't have the energy. That fighting 6 months, 3 times in 6 months, was taking his toll, and he couldn't really close. Yeah, he couldn't close the door the way he thought, and he started trying to just put some rounds in the bank using his feet, making him miss. But Fonseca won to me about at least 4 rounds out of that fight, and he won some rounds late. A lot of them were late. I gave him like 2 rounds in a row late because he was applying the pressure, hitting, landing shots, going downstairs, coming up tight. He was fighting a great fight, so I had to fight a lot closer than the scores indicated. I had Tevin winning probably about like 2 rounds, but Fonseca was in the fight. Like he got himself back in the fight, enough to win at least 4 rounds on my scorecard. But Tevin Farmer and Tank fight exactly, and that's why I was like, Tevin Farmer needs to definitely get in the ring with Tank. He's gonna have his fight in Philly, his hometown. Everybody's coming out to support him, so that's gonna be interesting. And I think that they're gonna build him up to the point where Tank is gonna be the odd guy out. Like he's gonna be the underdog in the situation if that fight ever takes place, which I doubt it does because I think Tank can't make 130. I think he's gonna have to move up. And he's a guy that's
Yeah,
been
not for long. That's for sure. He won't be able to make it for long.
yeah, and I don't know who they're gonna keep matching him up with. He's a guy that can't make it on the scales, so he's going to end up having to pay the opponent, and the opponent's going to be happy, but he doesn't have that defining fight that's going to solidify him like the Pedraza fight. The Lomachenko fight was there for him. It was like, look, you want to fight Lomachenko, you could have made that happen. Y'all were running from the fight. And Floyd actually believes that Tank can beat Lomachenko. He really believes it. He believes Tank can get him. He was like, man, Tank can beat him.
They did say on Showtime at one time that they talked to, Todd DeBuff, and they're trying to talk it through back then, remember?
Yeah. But next thing Tank's not really feel like he's up for that fight. And it's like, are you serious? What do you want to do here? Because it's like, these are the fights you should be asking for instead of Lomachenko. He doesn't need to ask you. You should be chasing him, and you should be like calling him out for it. But these are the things the reason that and the only problem I have with like the PBC right now is that we need these guys to fight defining fights against challenges. Not all. And I ain't saying every fight has to be like that, but nowadays, we need to see who's who, or we, yeah, because
Every other thing.
yeah, I know social media, everybody's crowned before they really have that fight. That where they have the adversity to dig through and actually win against somebody that actually has a pulse, that the crowd actually believes has a shot in beating you, and not just a showcase fight. And then it's like, okay, well, he's gonna fight somebody down the road. It's like, okay, when is that gonna happen? Now, the Errol Spence's fight, Mikey, that is a very intriguing fight because Errol is like way too big for Mikey. That everybody's like, wait, but Mikey's big too. So this might be interesting. Mikey has the experience over Errol. Errol is a great fighter, but he is kind of green in certain areas. So the big fight, the lights might get too bright for Arrow at one point, but I think his athleticism will be enough. But we'll deal with that when we get there. But the main event, Canelo and Rocky. This was this was ridiculous. He did not warm up Chris at all in the back room. And I saw it when they saw him sitting down, Chris, and they put the camera on him and on the look on his face. I said, "Oh no." I said, "Look at him. He is fighting anxiety. He's trying to keep his nerves calm." I'm like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, I could see it all over his face. I'm like, I know Canelo gonna be able to see it when they get to the ring. I'm like, panic has hit him all in the face. His nerves, he's never been there. The lights was way too bright for him. And I was telling my buddy next to me, I said, "Man, I don't know about this." I was like, he might go early instead of late. I had him going out late around round 9 after Canelo had broke him down. And he just abandoned the entire game plan and just went into full out. I got a brawl. Canelo caught him with a good shot to the body and came in, and then he just went. I threw the whole game plan out and just tried to knock Canelo out, which was the dumbest idea ever. I'm like, no, you don't push forward now without the jab. You haven't even gauged distance yet. That's why he's missing with the sweeping hook. I'm like, he's missing with the sweeping uppercut hook because you haven't timed him yet. You don't even know where he's gonna be or anything. Try to feel things out. He just went all out in like the first round and just kept getting his body tagged. You don't know how to bend his elbows in correctly. And Canelo just knows you can't fight off the back foot, so he's not really expecting a counter shot from you. I mean, Canelo got reckless and got hit with some shots he shouldn't have, but they were so far and few and in between, it didn't even matter. The body shots were killing him. And that's one thing I give Canelo. He throws debilitating shots, man. He threw that and swept it right across his body with preciseness. That left just came and just folded him. So I think Canelo right now, after beating Rocky, he's more seasoned. He's a lot more polished than he was years ago. A fight with him and Danny Jacobs right now would be very interesting. That would be a very interesting fight, but it needs to happen at 68 if you're Canelo. If he drops down to 160, I'm going to favor Danny Jacobs because Danny Jacobs would jab his head off and keep him at a pace and tie him up and turn him, and it'll make a real frustrating night for Canelo. But 160, I can see him getting tired in like 6, 7 rounds, Chris. That's a whole different type of fight. Entirely different type of fight. So, I mean,
Yeah, a lot of people think that they were trying to line up David Lemieux for May, but then he failed to make the weight and stuff like that. But
yeah,
that doesn't mean they can't fight him at 168. I think people are kind of forgetting that because he just fought at 68. So Lemieux going up to 68, they'll sell it like, oh, he's gonna be healthy. He hasn't been healthy in years and whatnot. I'm not sure if they're gonna go right to that Jacobs fight.
I
That
don't
is a
think
good
so
ass
either
fight, though.
because he's a free agent. And I'm quite sure the negotiation for the money and everything else because he wants to remain a free agent. He likes being a free agent, so he definitely don't want to sign to the zone. And they're trying to get Jacobs to just come on and go roll over to the zone, and he doesn't want to do it. So he's like, "Look, I'm a free agent. Let's go ahead and get these deals done."
Yeah,
So
give me the Canelo fight.
right, I'll take that one.
You give me the Canelo fight, I'll take the deal.
Yep. So they're gonna try to work something out there in the negotiation stage, but what a great contrast of styles. It's kind of like remind me of the Austin Trout fight a little bit, except for Danny Jacobs is a little bit more seasoned than Austin Trout. Austin gets a little sloppy when he's fatigued. Danny Jacobs, even when he's fatigued, he's still dangerous. So You know, if you get to him, you might have to get to him early. But Jacobs had never been in there with a guy that has a vicious body attack like that, as Canelo does. So it's the power of Canelo versus the technician or the technical skills of Danny Jacobs. But Jacobs could probably get Canelo's attention with a shot. But that's what the people want now. You know, the zone can't continuously put on a card without a real main showcase or somebody that the crowd is interested in. I don't think you see Canelo Triple
Right.
G ever again. I think that's run its course. I don't think the Triple G team wants it. The Canelo team don't really want that fight anymore either. They're ready to move on to other things.
Yeah, especially the way they're talking about it. You know, they're like, well, it's on our terms this time. You know, this, that, and the third. They're like, he's gonna have to come back, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can see Golovkin. He's like, well, shit. How do I? If I sign with the zone, am I ever even gonna get that fight for sure? Or what do I gotta do? You know, jump through some more hoops, and I'm gonna have to fight Andre, Jacobs, and Charlo to get here. Like, I don't know, man. It's really weird, and it's crazy that the potential's there that Al may come away with the Golovkin, which a week or two ago nobody would have thought that.
Yeah, I think it was. I told you guys here on the show that Triple
Dude,
G.
he was at Wilder Fury, and he wasn't at this fight. Like, what the hell? How are you not at this fight if you're gonna sign with the zone? You know?
Because he's not. He's gonna sign with the PBC. Him and Chocolatito. They're both going over. Tom Loeffler's gonna do a deal. They're working it out with the PBC. That's why he's there. That's why I knew where this was going. That's why I made that announcement. The last time I was on here, I think this last week or the week before, when we were live, and I told everybody that was the move to look for. Yeah, the week before it was.
Because we were talking about him being at the fight and stuff like that. And we're all like, wow, he's just okay. This is actually up for grabs now, and here we are 2 weeks later. Golovkin is nowhere to be found, and you know, I was saying earlier, Alvarez has already signed the contract, so it's not like they can put a stipulation in now and say within 4 fights you have to fight Golovkin. You know, that's not going to be there.
Right. So I'm thinking that they're gonna come up with a whole new way to try to make this arrangement go with the PBC to have Triple G face the Charlos and make Triple G into a big threat again. Because all of them they're vested in a middleweight champion or having a tournament at middleweight. You know, Al Heyman wants to work with Triple G and build him back up to the status where they felt he should have been, like the most feared fighter in the world. And definitely give the Charlos their shot at Triple G. Now they'll have a good shot at him, but Triple G, you know, can they deal with his power? You know, these guys are more athletic, they move around, but let's see how they do with his power. They kind of don't dedicate themselves going to the body and playing a lot of body shots. They're not really those type of fighters. Now Canelo had to take some heat from Triple G, so we'll see if they can take the heat. You know, so it's just like
and Danny Jacobs could still get that fight, and then Al would go to Golovkin and be like, "Hey, make the zone be desperate and give you a big fat check to do it, instead of signing and getting the you know." Yeah, I think that honestly, a couple of weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought that, but now that you really put it together, like, there's no way if they weren't close to signing Golovkin, he wouldn't have been in the building. There's no fucking way.
Exactly. That's why he's there.
You know?
That's why he took the pictures with the Charlos, and yeah, they're getting ready to bring him over.
They're walking out with the Charlo brothers like they're all chummy and shit. It's like, wow, dude, this is happening. So that would be crazy if Al ended up with Pacquiao and Golovkin.
Yeah, because Tom Loeffler is working with. He was there working with Al and they were like about a month ago going into deep negotiations about bringing Chocolatito over and doing the same marketing that they were doing with HBO, having both of those fight on the card, together. So they were trying to do that, and they once
And then
again.
maybe Loeffler could be like Bella, where he can get on Showbox. He can get some guys on Showbox, and he can fill out a couple of guys on a PC card. Because Al, when you work with him, he definitely lets you have plenty of undercard action.
Oh yeah, so having him fight the Charlos, and they're saying, yeah, the Charlo brothers are there for you to fight. Then you have Jared Hurd's going to be moving up to middleweight pretty soon. They got a lot of fighters there that they could use. And Canelo, it's uncertain, but they don't believe that he's going to actually go back to middleweight and campaign. There's only certain opportunities for him to do so, because I think it's a bad move. I think he should stay at 68. Going down to 160. Yeah, it's one. Yeah, once you that 7-8 pounds, he had a hard time making 160 when he fought Triple G the last fight. He barely made 160. So he had to really dehydrate himself, and you can't keep doing that to your body. He's getting older, and he doesn't understand, and it's gonna hit him in the middle of the ring one day. Yeah, and I'm like, right, you've been fighting and doing this for a long time, because he came in weighing 147. He was too light. They had to immediately move him up to 54. And exactly. Exactly, because he can't make this weight, and I knew it was going to be a problem for him as he got bigger and stronger. Then you keep trying to cut down in weight. 68, yeah, that's why he was so solid at 68. I'm like, man, he's really solid at 68 as far as.
Still was chiseled or whatever, but it wasn't. He didn't look fucking like there's nothing on you. You're right, that's true. Even at 60, when he weighs in like that, even at 64 against Chavez Jr., 63, whatever the hell that was, he looked better at that point.
Yep. So I think that Canelo should stay at 168 and campaign there. Jacobs and him could fight at probably 164 catch weight. It don't even need to be for the middleweight title. It would be great if they could do it, but if he goes down to 160, I'm going to favor Jacobs in the fight. I know he won't win, but
says the opposite. Jacob says, "Man, you let me at 68. I won't have to starve either. I'm gonna knock him out at 68." Hey, that's what Jacob said.
Oh, okay. Well, if he's willing to go up to 68, then that's great. Yeah, I mean, Jacob saw the fight. And looking at Canelo's style, he think he can get Canelo out in 8 rounds. He said, I'll get Canelo out in 8. That's a mistake. Danny Jacobs is not a big body puncher. And that is his problem. He went to Golovkin's body, but
he shouldn't go crazy either. Because every time he's gone crazy, that's what he did as a prospect to a contender, remember? He'd come in there all vicious, but then he'd be, getting hit plenty. And Sergio Mora, we saw what those did to him, knocked him out. So
yeah,
he can't fight 2 records.
No, and the thing about him is like he's kind of he's been on the canvas. Triple G put him on the canvas.
Yeah.
So he can get cracked and go down, and Canelo's got the power to put him down.
He's shakeable. We've seen it. He can shake his ass up.
Right, and then Canelo, you talking about knocking out Canelo? This guy is taking punches from Triple G. He hadn't even been buzzed.
Right.
So, I'm like, this guy hadn't even been buzzed. So I'm like, all right, let's get it. So I'm interested in seeing it, but I think Canelo gets to his body.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
Yeah, and it's about how well can Jacob stick to the game plan and keep Canelo at the end of his jab and work angles. And then touch him every now and then. Wait till Canelo wants to rest, and try to wait till he slows down and let Canelo burn a lot of energy trying to find him. That is the key. If you come in there thinking that you're just gonna outpower him, and if you letting Canelo come in without paying a price and get into your body, that's a mistake. You know, you got to do kind of like you did with Golovkin. You know, he kind of took his time, stayed away, touched him with the jab, let Triple G stalk, and then pick the right time to come forward and be aggressive, countering and coming over the top with shots. I was impressed. I was impressed. The way he fought Triple G, and it showed a lot of people. It took him, Kell Brook, yeah, Kell Brook, his fight. You know, these guys showed, and it took away the fear of everybody had of Golovkin. That was gone.
Right.
You know, the myth was gone. Once you cut him, and everybody know he could bleed, oh, he's beatable. So, and everybody was like, oh yeah, he could be beat. Now, the things about Canelo, he's so seasoned and experienced now at this level. You could see the growth in him from fighting guys like Laura and Cotto, and I was like, he's fought everybody. I was like, that's like people don't realize. I'm like, he's fought guys that people don't. Triple G never fought Arislan G. Laura. Laura called him out immediately and wanted that fight. They wanted no parts of him.
He fought him in the next year too after losing to Mayweather. I mean, they didn't milk that at all. Oh, he fought Angulo, came back, and then boom, he was right there with Laura.
Yep. Fought Angulo, came back and fought Laura. He fought Austin Trout. I'm like, Canelo's resume is solid. So if anybody, and I was like, man, it's funny how they don't put him on the top of the list when they do their pound for pounds, and they talk about Lomachenko, who has like 15 fights, and they put,
loss doesn't matter.
Yeah, with a loss.
You know, well, why should it matter? He lost to Toledo. Canelo lost to Mayweather, dude.
Exactly. I was like, he lost to Floyd Mayweather, and look what he's done since then. And they was like, yeah, but I'm like, and the guys you got 1 and 2, Terrence Crawford and Lomachenko, yeah, they are great pound for pound fighters, but who they have on their resume?
Yeah.
They got like Errol Spence should be in there. I'm like Aaron Spence and Sean Porter, and I'm like all of them combined, they don't have defining wins like Canelo got. So
right.
I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, Canelo could be nearing retirement.
It's because most people, you know, the people that think that were just hell bent that Canelo or that Golovkin won the first Canelo fight like 10-2 or 9-3, you know, that type of thing. They didn't think that was competitive at all. So therefore, we're not moving him up.
Yeah, and then that Caleb Smith, that's who he needs to be worried about. That's going to be a fight if they ever fight at 68.
Yeah, he was saying, the guy who just knocked out Grove, he was saying that we'll go to Wembley. You know, we'll go to Wembley. They're talking about that. Now, a lot of people think he's going to fight Lemieux and then somebody else and then fight Kelly Smith and not even mess with these middleweights for a while.
I mean, yeah, that's a tough fight for him. That undefeated guy is something else, man. He was hungry up there at that, and he's a full-fledged 68. So that's actually a tougher fight. You know, that's a high risk, low reward. You know, he won't get a lot of credit for beating him by the mainstream public, but the boxing fans would be like, oh, that's a great win. That is a great win. A young, up-and-coming fighter who's a world champion too. And he's actually beaten Rocky Feldon too, knocked out Rocky Feldon. So, yeah, that would have been a great fight. It definitely would have been a great fight. Now, coming up this weekend, so...
Yeah, we're in a busy weekend, man. US and UK.
So, yeah, well, the UK fight, to me, that main event is like a joke of a fight. I mean, you're going to probably get some excitement for as long as it lasts. But Derek Chisora is the Mayorga, the UK's version of Mayorga. He could sell the fight. He just ain't going to be able to close the deal.
Knock somebody silly, just hang around.
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead to me. He's gonna sell it. He's gonna yell and scream, and people are gonna be, yo, this is a great. Normally, when you have a rematch, normally it's like, okay, the first fight was close. It was great. I'm like, the first fight was Chisora didn't have a chance of winning that fight. He definitely ain't gonna have one chance of winning this one. Look, they're doing the greatest job they could do as far as making a excitement and back in boxing. And it's just
That
crazy to
fight's
me.
on Showtime, Karceno. That fight's on Showtime, not the zone.
Oh, it's on Showtime?
Isn't that
Okay.
crazy? Yeah. It's so random, but yeah. And that's a Sky Sports Eddie Hearn fight. And I guess the zone didn't put up enough money to buy it. So Showtime.
Well, they probably were like, look, we've been throwing away our money. We definitely are not throwing our money on this.
Well, the only thing with that is Dillian White might be the next opponent for Joshua. So you got to at least get him known here a little bit. I don't know, man. I guess the way they do it is the Sky Sports pay-per-view is not part of the 16 Sky Sports stuff. We got the Povetkin Joshua, we got the Usyk, we got that one with W, but they're not giving us this one, and those are like for sale. And this one didn't pick it up. Showtime's playing it, dude. It's a shocker.
Well, I admire that the zone was smart enough to stay away from this fight. Because they probably said, look, this fight has already went over once. Who's going to want to see this again? Dylan White is just going to knock him out in probably 4 rounds. That's what I'm going to give this fight. 4 rounds. In 4 rounds, Derek Chisora will be knocked out in the same fashion as he always gets knocked out. So don't expect the fight to go past 5 rounds.
The other UK fight is Carl Frampton against the come forward guy who just beat Selby and Josh Warrington. So that's really more of the legit featherweight
That's
fight.
the only fight that's on the card. Now, that's the thing is Frampton is more seasoned, but he has gotten a little long, a little long in the tooth, and he's not as flashy, and going up in weight is definitely slowed him. He's fighting these bigger guys, but this is going to be a chess match. I think it's going to come down to, is Warrington really, on the level as far as dealing with Frampton's style. Frampton's is kind of cagey. And if you're not careful and you let him get in his groove, you'll fall for the same thing Leo Santa Cruz fell for that night. And he's like, oh my God. Leo made the adjustment in the rematch because he knew how to fight Frampton from that point on. He's like, oh, I know how to fight the guy now. But the first fight, he kept getting me all night long with that stiff jab that he thinks he's gonna be a jab, and it's like a serious punch, come in like half hook jab, strong jab, what they call a Euro jab, when you put a lot of power on it. Looks like he's gonna come in with another punch, and he comes in with that straight jab down the middle. But it's hard because Warrington is an attrition fighter. He stays at angles. He likes to throw the same feints, but he telegraphs a lot of his moves. Frampton knows that. They can watch tape on him, and it's hard to beat that angle style. Angle fighters are really good with angles. That's what they work on more than any Euro fighters out there. They really work on angles, controlling the ring, controlling the fight, staying poised, using the ring as your friend, and tying up and boxing and being sweet with momentum and making you miss, making you pay. So I just really feel that the experience of Carl Frampton will come out victorious. I think he'll win a decision. I think it'll be uh I'll say unanimous. but I'll have it probably like yeah
But
7-5.
but clean.
I have it close. I'm looking at probably 7-5. I think down the stretch, Frampton's gonna have to like dig in and get some rounds, from Warrington. So I have it really close, but I got Frampton winning that fight by at least 2 points or 2 rounds. So it's gonna be a wave of momentum. Oh, the Charlos, man, my goodness. They had did you see that whole marketing? I'm glad that Showtime is finally doing what they wanted him to do. They actually are giving him the platform he asked for. And the platform he asked for was to have the, to showcase them as twins and Showtime. They've been waiting to get their chance to showcase, and they kept crying about it. We don't want to be on Broner's cards no more. We're ready to stand on our own. And finally, Showtime is giving them what they wanted. Their showcase. And then they had Jamal Charlo with a Santa's hat, passing out gifts to kids and reading a book. I almost fell out of my chair, Chris. The Charlo, they try to, give them a new look and try to show them as more human as possible. Because every time we see him in the ring, that's why everybody hated him. Because they were always angry for no reason. And it was like, this is how we market now in today's time. You just be angry for no reason. I'm like, this is just doesn't make any sense. Everybody hates the Charlos. So I'm like, that's funny. They got him reading a book to the kids. I'm like, you got the angriest fighter.
They did the public workout in the club, though, in the next club. That was different.
Yeah.
Like, how can you take pictures, though? It's just supposed to be flashes and stuff. That was a little weird, but it was a little different.
Yeah, the problem is he probably was going to stay in the club after he got through working out.
Right.
I mean, he going to be reading a book to the kids. Yeah, he going to be reading a book to the kids. Mary had a little lamb. The lamb's fleet was white as snow. And they hate the Charlos too. I'm like, how you gonna let an angry man read books to kids? Yeah, they kept running their mouth about the Charlos. So we ain't care about Mary or the little lamb. Y'all probably hate the Charlos too. We don't care. We got Showtime. Oh my goodness. I was just laughing because I'm like,
I've seen that commercial though. I've seen that commercial on all sorts of different types of sports and stuff. They've been running that Charlo commercial on Fox like crazy.
oh yeah, so they trying to boost him up. But I want to see how this Tony Harrison fight go because that's the real fight of the night. Harrison problem is he gasses out after 9 rounds, he's done. And his problem is he gets tired, then he gets clipped. Now he outboxed every fight he lost, he was winning. That's the problem. He was winning the fights. He was winning against Willie Nelson. Yep. Jared Hurd, he's winning that fight easy. And he gets tired and you can wear him down. So the Charlos already know it's all about the conditioning with them. And don't get clipped. He's a better boxer than he gets credit for. He just ain't got the pop to get some of these guys out there, but he can win rounds. Now with Charlo, he's fighting the right one. He's fighting Jamel. Jamel likes to box with you a lot more than Jamal. Jamal takes more risk, and he believes he's the strongest of the two. And his confidence level is coming in, and he's ready to go. So at 160, this fight that he's got now, I don't think this guy is going to be ready for him. I think he'll be a tough fight for a couple of rounds, but it's better than Willie Moreau. That Korobov is going to be a better fight than Willie Moreau. Willie Moreau was going to look good. Yeah, he's going to look good, telegraph, and then about round 4 or 5, he's going to check on out. So we already knew Willie was going to get his check, and then that was going to be that. and this guy is actually going to fight you. So you're going to actually have to do something to get him out of it.
He was up on the scorecards against Andy Lee until he got stopped.
Yeah, he was. He could actually fight. I just wish he had a full camp. You know, he's coming in on short notice, and I don't know
You know
what.
He was on the undercard.
Yeah, he was on the undercard, but that's the thing. You know, when you want to go against for the world title, yeah, it's a different mindset, different training you probably wanted to do. You know, he probably was training for a guy that he knew was gonna beat, and he was gonna make. You know, not that he took it lightly. It's just that he probably would have added something different.
Definitely.
Right. He would have probably added something a lot different going in. You know, going up there against him. So.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Sure.
Well, we'll see.
For a replacement, it's about as good as you can get.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy. I got a better fight, so I'm actually happy. Monroe's out of there. You know, even though the commercial and everything's still promoting Monroe, I'm I'm like, I'm okay with it. You know, I got my fight, so I got a better fight out the deal. So I'm a little happy and excited about that.
Yeah, and I really like that Charlo and Harrison fight because a lot of people are talking about that John Jackson fight from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
With Charlo, when Jermell was coming forward, and he had to knock that dude out, otherwise he went down on the scorecard.
Yeah, he was gonna lose that fight, and he was losing on the scorecards and everything, and he had to get that knockout. And it was a good thing for him he came and did it because it saved his career.
Right.
That was a career-saving knockout. Because he had just gotten rid of Ronnie Shields and went and opened his own gym and did a lot of different things. And, you know, the thing about Jermell is I don't have a problem with Jermell at all. It's just that Jermell, he just a guy who can't be himself. When he's around his brother, that's when he becomes the worst person on the earth. You know, when he's by himself, he's nice. He's respectful. You don't have any problems with him whatsoever. Once he gets around Jamal, it's like he feels he's got to be there to back up Jamal no matter what. And Jamal could be 100% wrong all the time. And it's led to all their problems. And it's not like with me and the whole thing with me and Sean and all that stuff. They have this problem everywhere with everybody they dealt with. It's the same scenarios. Like, yeah, Jamel's all right, but it's Jamal. You know, Jamal's the one. And every fighter they fought, their whole camp wanted to get into a brawl with them and the entire family. It just didn't make any sense. Like, why does this keep happening to you? Why does this keep happening to the Charlos? And what should have been their biggest moment of celebratory is when they beat J-Rock, Jamal did. And then J-Rock came over respectfully, gave him his credit. Hey, great fight, you won. No, man, get out of my face. Get out of my corner. Get out of my face. And I'm like, oh, wow. And that whole fight was so meaningful to them because that was the guy that started all the commotion with us because he went off the record and was talking about, you know, the fight and everything. But all he said was that he felt Jamal had more dog in him than Jamel.
And he was going to expose them. He said these guys are just a product. You know, they're not real. You know.
Yeah. So they got mad at us over that. I'm like, how are you mad at us? Y'all supposed to be rocking with the Charlos. I'll be like, look, this isn't the Charlos website. It don't say it's Charlos boxing. I'm like, if another fighter says that, we just gonna report what the fighter said. We defended you guys in the article. So.
Do you think Jermell will knock out Harrison, or do you think it's gonna?
I think he's gonna knock out Harrison. I think he'll get the knockout in like round 10. Round 10, he'll get the knockout.
And then Korobov. You think Korobov will make the distance? Do you think Maul will knock him out?
I think the fight goes to distance, and Jamal wins by unanimous decision. They're gonna give him a unanimous decision, but I think it goes to distance.
It might be good for him to go the distance. He hasn't done it in a while.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go to distance. So I'm just very interested to see how what will happen with the Harrison situation, like how he deals with Harrison's boxing. Because Harrison is
Right.
he's good with aggressive fighters. He's always fought aggressive fighters, and Hurd is one. So if Jamel
Yeah.
tries to outbox him, he has a lot better boxing pedigree. Harrison does. Being trained up there near the Kronk Gym and all these other guys out there, they've worked with some of the slickest fighters in the game. So, he's schooled. He's just gotta, he's kind of chinny, and he gets tired and makes mistakes. So he's gotta, conserve his energy and see if he can get a complete fight game out there. But
Well, he's got a full camp, that's for sure, because we've known about this fight for a while, so he doesn't have an excuse there.
Oh no. You got no excuse. It's gonna be an interesting fight. I can't wait to see it. So they got me excited.
All right, buddy, well, I agree, man. It's a good weekend. Definitely a good weekend. I'm gonna see Charlos are gonna be trying to make a statement. So if you're going to make a statement against Harrison, like you said, he can handle a come forward fighter. All right, buddy. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. Hopefully that headache stays away. Enjoy the fight, man. Take it easy.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Alrighty, so I'm going to go out to Portland. I'm going to let him get in position. I know he's at work and whatnot, so I'll let him get in position. And I'll do my picks as well. I actually think that Frampton Warrington fight will be very good. Warrington coming forward and all that. He is a good fighter. He's a solid fighter.
That's Ropeadoperadio, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you follow it. That's Chris Carson on Twitter. At Ropeadoperadio on Twitter. Click it and get the link to the show.
They were trying to say Lee Selby was, like this super gifted defender, and I just never saw it. That's not taking any credit away from Warrington because he handled. It was a split decision, but he beat Lee Selby completely. But you can go back and see the Kiko Martinez fight where he struggled a little bit. He fought some veterans. Nothing really stands out on his resume except Lee Selby, who was unbeaten at the time. But I don't know. I just think that Frampton, he may be past it a little bit, but I also think he's a guy that fights at level. He fights with competition, and he's done it numerous times. In fact, I remember I actually picked Frampton, or I'm sorry, Leo Santa Cruz in that fight because I had seen Kiko Rodriguez. I'd seen that fight going long, dude. He was able to get a lot of pressure on, although he did really good in the rematch. To me, I actually picked him off of something just because of what I had seen. But I think that it's a level thing, and I think Frampton will outbox him. I think he'll land the clean punching and all that. It's going to be a competitive fight, though. I'm looking like about 8-4, but I think Frampton will come through. I do think White will win, but I see it going longer. I think Chisora right now is different shape-wise than he was back then. So I think Chisora actually will put in work, but I agree with Cino when he says White will knock him. I just maybe double the round, maybe the 8th or 10th. Actually, I don't know. I think White will knock him out. I think he will eventually. That Charlo, man, you go back to that Jackson fight, we were talking about that. You go back to that Jackson fight with Charlo. And Charlo told everybody before that fight, nobody really believed him, that it was just hype. But Jermell said he was going to knock out Jackson. He was hearing it about his power. Jamal always had the more power and the highlight real knockout type stuff. And even to this day, now, obviously Jermell has gotten back up with that as far as highlight real knockout stuff. But I'm gonna go with the Charlo brothers to win